Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Developers Digest for September of 2022. I'm joined by a new co-host this month, Nico. Could you introduce yourself, Nico?
Hi everyone, I'm Nico, also a developer advocate at SAP, and I'm located in Hamburg, Germany.
Very nice. I know Hamburg has got a very interesting weather similar to San Francisco. What's it like over there now?
Yeah, we got a lot of rain here, and right now it's cloudy too, but the summer has been good so far, so that was cool.
Good.
And what have
Um,
you been up to lately?
so I've been busy moving into a new house. So a lot of stuff has been packed up in boxes, and we temporarily went to an apartment and then got into our house. So now everything is unboxed, and as you can see, I'm in my home office right now, so everything's good.
All right, almost set up. That's cool.
Exactly, exactly. Is there anything you would like to share with the audience that you do as a hobby or anything going on in your life?
Yeah, well, I'm a runner, so I like to go out for a run in the evening. I like to do marathons, actually. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm not coding.
Nice. So I'll sometimes think of a problem and I'll think about it. I have music on sometimes when I run, but also I don't do marathons. I've gone up to a half marathon before my body gets very angry with me. But I think a lot about code while running too, just because it's your time to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And my body gets angry too. But it's good to turn the mind off, and actually, solutions, sometimes just appear out of nowhere when I'm running. So that's
Exactly.
cool. All right. So, Josh, what's the trivia question for this month?
So for this month, it's there's a theme that I was going to stick with, and I'll give the answer out later. But for now, I want people to think about what year Juergen Mueller joined SAP's executive board. He's been here a long time, but what year did he join? So maybe we'll get that answer a little later.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not with SAP for too long, so I'm not sure if it was before I joined or not. I don't know. But we'll find out later. And I
Okay.
think actually it's time to go through today's agenda, isn't it?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind going through the agenda for the audience, that would be awesome.
Okay, cool. So first up, we have Ask an Advocate. That's the newest show that we have. You could ask us questions and we will answer them on this show right here. Next, we have a segment of SAP Developer News. Coming up after that, we have Hands-on SAP Dev. Then the famous weather report from Josh. Very much looking forward to that. And we're rounding up with the trivia question answer for this month.
Yep.
And I'm very excited to see the Ask an Advocate coming up next with you and Juergen Mueller.
Exactly. So big surprise for everybody. Juergen Mueller is joining us on this episode. And I've got a couple of questions I'm going to answer as well via social media, but I thought it would be fun to have Juergen join us for that segment. So let's jump right into it. All right. Welcome to a new segment that we're doing called Ask an Advocate. For this month's show, I started this segment hoping that the community would ask some questions and I could get you answers from the developer advocate team. But for this one, I've got a special honorary advocate joining me. It's our executive board member and CTO, Juergen Mueller. Welcome, Juergen.
Hey Josh, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It means a ton to me, to the team, and to the community, because we know that having access to you answer questions is going to be a great, exciting time for us. So
Yeah, let's see. What questions do you have today?
well, I start with some rapid fires, and then we'll get into some of the community questions. So first, I was just wondering, like, what code is best? Are you comfortable answering that?
Not without context, but I did a lot in Java. I did a little bit in ABAP. I did a lot in Ruby on Rails back then. At the beginning of this year, Josh and colleagues and team, I learned Solidity to writing smart contracts on the blockchain. That was a little weird. And in the moment, I'm doing some Python on a Raspberry Pi. But if you ask what the best, most powerful programming language or concept is, I would still say it is ABAP plus our cup world.
Of course, of course. So another quick one for fun. What's your favorite movie?
I'm watching from time to time just to relax. So for me, I can watch a lot of 24. I watch MacGyver. he could solve all challenges in the world, but also Game of Thrones, which was very nice for me as well. So I will watch something here and there. I'm not watching things more than once usually. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an impression.
Yeah. So a little bit of inventiveness and engineering, as well as some sci-fi stuff. So very cool. Speaking of sci-fi, do you want to pick sides between Star Trek and Star Wars?
That for me, I get asked that question from time to time, and it's so different for me. Star Trek is me coming from school, then being on the couch and starting a very good afternoon. And Star Wars for me is cinema, big, huge production, etc. So if I needed to decide, I think I would lean towards Star Wars now. But it's really like two different sides of my brain, if you ask that question.
You like The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Yeah, Baby Yoda. So, all right. Now to change gears to something a little different. Why do you show up every day at work?
To really help people with technology. That's the short answer. I had a long answer. I have a long answer as well. The shorter version of that is I met a photographer, and he had 4 children and a nice family, but couldn't spend a lot of time there because his setup, work processes, etc., was very bad. And then that was my first startup with a friend of mine to help him basically build a photographer ERP system, on a small scale. And now, of course, at SAP, I really love doing our stuff if it helps people with their life, with their work.
So making things better and making a difference. That's nice.
Yeah, even in my Raspberry Pi project, that was the motivation.
Juergen, I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned earlier Raspberry Pi, I think in question 1 or 2. And what are you doing with the Raspberry Pi?
Also a little bit longer story, but basically a very good friend of mine and my brother, they are into a fantasy football, a special version. It's called Blood Bowl. The friend of mine actually, I think, still is the world champion with one of the races that you can play there. And basically, we are building now a smart chess watch, if you want. So it's a board game, but it is about time as well, which is ticking. And here we want to, let me show you that one here. So that's how it looks like in the moment. There will be a very nice box around, etc., etc. But basically,
you have a whole breadboard going and all the pegs
and
everything.
Yeah, of course. So basically, it's tracking like time, it's tracking touchdowns, it's tracking how much casualties you inflict. So that's what we are doing currently as a mini, rather team project here.
So is this Raspberry Pi, then you are collecting scores throughout like a season? So you said it's a game you play?
Yeah, it will be only for one game in the moment. To help tracking that Blood Bowl game. So if you watch it on YouTube, you will find some games and how it works. So just for fun, nothing major. It's just for fun.
Very cool. I'm going to look it up once we're done. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's get to a community question.
Yeah.
The first one. All right. We have here. How do I take an AppGyver no-code project to a productive BTP system?
In the moment, what you do is you easily secure an AppGyver app with one click on the BTP authentication feature. And then you use the destination service. And what you do in the moment is you create an mtar file, and that one you deploy. There's a relatively new blog post from Mark Huber. He's explaining that very nicely. Also for more governance, because many companies ask for low-code, no-code, being super efficient, but also having the governance in place. There you would create the AppGyver application, you would create the mtar file, or you would give access to the IT department. then that mtar file would be deployed using the normal BTP transport management service, such that you have both. You have enablement and low-code, no-code for everyone, and you do have the IT department having everything under control.
Nice, thank you. So I was going to give that question to Daniel Robleski on our team, but you answered it so well, I think I'll now reach out to him.
Yeah, Daniel will have some more to share. Also, I know there's a new mission. I have not done it yet, but I will, on AppGyver extensibility on the Discovery Center as well.
Perfect. I'll link to that in the bottom of this video as well as to Mark's blog post. So, very good. All right, question number 2. What is the difference for a developer in BTP between extensions and integrations?
In integrations, usually you want to combine multiple systems. In a normal company, easily you have more than 100 cloud systems alone. So you want to integrate those. And then there's process integration, there's data integration, there's API-based integration, there's event-based integration. So that is on the integration side, if you ask me about integration. On extensions, you have an existing app and you want to extend this app, can be in-app extensions, but also can be basically a side-by-side app that you create in order to extend your app. And we have, for example, in Services Cloud, you can easily build even a low-code, no-code app. And you actually do not see that this is a different app because it's so neatly integrated. You just click a link, the UI looks the same, but from a development perspective, you created an extension.
Awesome. Yeah, I was talking to Daniela, one of our colleagues, and that whole keep the core clean, right? We say it a lot, but that is a great way to keep the core clean. It's just to have a one-click extension.
Yeah, and everyone understands that because no one wants to go through the hassle of having so much effort on upgrading systems. So therefore, keeping the core clean, everyone understood. And of course, now it's about us, and it's on us as a developers team to showing how to make that happen, how to really take all the modifications and everything which is crammed together and hindering smooth upgrade paths, how to make that and create a clean architecture and have extensions on BTP.
Nice, thank you. So the next one is a little different. It is SAP's BTP, Business Technology Platform, really running Kubernetes?
Yeah, so we have our BTP Kyma, and this is it's using a lot of open source components. It's Kubernetes, it's Istio, Helm, many more projects. And that means we combine that into the Kyma runtime, and you don't have to take care and maintain all these open source projects. Instead, the SAP BTP team takes care of that for you. So you get all the power of open source, but you don't have to take care of management of all these open source projects.
Nice, thank you. So I got one more from the community, and then we'll be wrapping up soon because I know you're busy. But this one should be a really good one, right? Because ABAP 2208 just came out, and we know that everybody's looking at ABAP and SAP as our legacy is built around this. Do you have a favorite feature that came out in the newest release?
Yeah, ABAP, first of all, Josh, is a very proud legacy of ours, but also a legacy is a very positive word. So we still continue investing a lot in ABAP, and we are making it cloud ready. And I think the last years have shown that we really mean that. And if you now ask about ABAP 2208, I like events a lot. So now with RAP, actually, you can use the native business events. So you can consume them, and you can actually also expose new business events. That for me makes a huge difference, because you asked about integration extension earlier. Yeah, if I can have an event, then I can have an asynchronous integration or extension. And that is now fully supported in ABAP. And then also talking about extensibility, the RAP framework. So our ABAP RESTful application programming model. RAP now also supports extensibility on multiple levels, really. because I mean, you know it. Sometimes you need extensions on the data model. Sometimes you need extensions in validations or in actions or in services. So that now is all possible, including the respective tool support. And I think I'm very proud about all that has been achieved. So now it's again on us developers to making best use of that. And yeah, also there's a few new things like the Horizon theme. And I don't want to spoil, but there's a lot coming up even in September regarding ABAP. So stay tuned, and there's a lot of greatness in ABAP.
We will, and I know Rich Heilman on our team talks a lot with Florian, and so we'll get any blog posts that are released, and we'll publish those and keep people up to date. It's a very important topic.
Yeah, I saw a blog post from Florian, so that one probably is a good one.
Cool. You talked about developers a few times, and us as developers and people that are doing things with code. Before we wrapped up, I was hoping sometimes you could tell me, maybe you had an issue in the past. Did you ever make a mistake in code, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I share one with you. Of course, there are many, because that happens, but you have to learn. But I share one with you where I learned a lot from. It was actually a project. I was working basically as a BW consultant. And there the task was to fix some master data issues. And we provided, then we built in ABAP, that was my ABAP experience. We built a system such that master data could be corrected, mapped, etc., etc. And in the end, the client said, hey, that's amazing. Task, check, fulfilled. But when we did the retrospective, some other person shared that, hey, it's nice that you fixed that, but actually you did not fix the root cause. Because the root cause was further up in the data pipeline, so to say. So the issues would continue popping up. And that, I was not that experienced back then. That was eye-opening that, of course, whenever you can, even if you get a task, it would be good to understand what relates to it. Why does the challenge exist? To look as far as possible up not the food chain in this case, but the pipeline on where to fix the problem.
Awesome. So tying into that, then, can I ask you, did you ever learn something from a code developer, somebody that was on your team, or a manager, somebody that really taught you something that stuck with you?
What stuck with me, I take one real example and maybe one half funny one. So the real one, value of test-driven development and behavior-driven development. So really trying to codify what you expect from your code or a system, and then building that first and testing afterward, and then implementing afterwards to see the test being implemented. Also that I did here with my Raspberry Pi project, for example. So you can even mock a lot on the Raspberry Pi buttons and read switches, etc. And then the half funny one is how scary a Git rebase can be.
Yeah, you got to be very careful there. Cool. Well, I know we're probably over time. I have taken a lot of notes here. I'm going to put a lot of things into this episode of the Developers Digest, and I would love to have you back every month, but I know that's not possible. So next time we get questions from the audience, if I can't answer it with our team, I'll reach out to you. And I know you'll be there to help out because you love supporting the SAP community, and we love having you here. So thank you so much, Juergen.
100%, Josh. And to the whole audience, thanks a lot. And I hope to see each and every one around TechEd for the various sessions we will have there, etc., etc.
Nice. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome back. I hope everybody enjoyed that really cool interview with Juergen. It was very special for me, and I'm very thankful I got to do that, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. And if anyone has more questions, please go ahead and send us them.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll answer as many as we can, either in person on these videos or via social media. So thank you for submitting your questions. I really, really appreciate that.
Awesome. And coming up next, we want to play a great segment from last week's Developer News. Enjoy.
Developer News.
Developer News.
Developer News.
We have a new code challenge for you as part of the Community Spotlight for the month of September. This time, it's about testing your skills and learning the basics in ABAP. The challenge is very simple. You'll have to create an account on Exorcism and complete the challenge assigned for each week. If you're interested in participating in the challenge, read the blog post to learn more and see what this week's challenge is. We're looking forward to seeing all of your submissions. Don't forget to head over to the SAP Community Code Challenge, dive into the basics of ABAP thread in the application development group to discuss, share, and ask questions throughout the challenge. We're looking forward to seeing all of your submissions throughout the month of September.
Welcome back. That was a great news segment, and I hope everyone enjoys the SAP Developer News. And make sure to like and subscribe too.
Definitely, yeah. We put out news every week, and it's a great way to keep up with everything happening. Speaking of keeping up with everything happening, that's part of this show, is to try to make sure people understand there's so many different things that developer advocates are involved with. One of those things that DJ Adams does is our hands-on SAP Dev. And he recently had a thing where he's diving more into, getting started in the beginner series. So I was hoping we could check out a segment of that, and you could just see what DJ Adams has been up to.
That sounds great. Let's check it out.
Hey, yeah, Nico and Josh, thanks. Yeah, we've been doing some beginner focus live streams recently on the hands-on SAP Dev show over on the SAP Developers YouTube channel. Let me just give you an idea of what we've been doing. So this is the SAP Developers YouTube channel, as you know, and you can see that we've got various upcoming live streams for Devtoberfest. But let me move down and past the developer news, and we can see we've got different shows. So it's on the hands-on SAP Dev show where we've been doing some basically back to basics, some sort of fundamentals live streams. We started back in May. Was it May? Yeah, it was May. And starting to look at OData, the Open Data Protocol. Super important protocol. It's well established. It's been going since the mid 2010s, 2013, 2014. I think 2014 is actually when OData v4 came out. Anyway, it's a super important protocol, especially in the enterprise world. Super stable, super reliable, also very modern and very capable because it's based on representational state transfer, REST, right? And also we did over on the, if we look at the shows, over on the 2 minutes of show, we did a show on, or an episode on REST itself. So we're covering the sort of the building blocks in the sort of API basics. We looked at HTTP and we looked at representational state transfer, and building on HTTP and REST, then we started to look at OData, and we covered all sorts of things. We actually ended up, if I go over here, we ended up doing 6 episodes over 6 weeks. They're all about an hour each, and we looked at the basics, we looked at basic operations, we looked at all the different system query options, and then we took a bit of a deep dive into $filter. Super exciting, super powerful. Then we looked at the sort of what I like to think of as the orthogonal parts of OData, actions and functions. And so, with OData, you have the fundamental RESTful concepts of resources and representations of those resources and operations that you perform on those resources that translate into HTTP verbs, get, put, post, delete, and so on. All normal standard stuff. But then we looked at actions and functions, a way of doing slightly different angled things on your data sets, right? And then we wrapped up, it was great. And one of the best things about these live stream episodes and the hands-on SAP Dev show in general is the participation from the folks that join live. They join live and they either lurk and say nothing, which is fine, or they ask loads of questions, make comments, have a conversation with me live and with each other. It's really good. After that, we had a look at using curl in the same sort of back to basics little mini series, we did one episode on looking at curl. And let me just pause that for a second. There we go. We looked at curl in SAP Enterprise Landscape. Curl is super important. It's probably the most, well, yeah, definitely the most widely used HTTP client and client library in the world. It's even used on Mars, right? It's on the Mars rover. Super important to be able to sort of manipulate and work with APIs, for example, and lots of different resources in the enterprise world. So we looked at curl, and we used curl as well to understand a little bit more about the building blocks of HTTP. You know, what requests look like, how to create them, what responses look like, and so on, right? So we've done a couple of topics in this. Oh, there we go. I'm starting to talk. There we go. Be quiet, DJ, or the DJ. We did a number of episodes on OData. We did one episode on curl. And when hands-on SAP Dev restarts soon, we're going to look at OAuth. Okay, so we're going to start looking at the fundamentals, going back to basics with OAuth, so everybody can understand what it's all about, how to put OAuth token requests together, what they mean, how to use the tokens, how to refresh tokens, and so on. So yeah, that's what we've been up to in sort of the more fundamentals focused, the back to basics focused live streams on the Hands-on SAP Dev Show over on our SAP Developers YouTube channel. We stream live on Friday mornings, sort of UK time, every Friday. We advertise it on LinkedIn and on YouTube, on Twitter. And of course, the best thing to do is just go ahead and go to the SAP Developers YouTube channel and subscribe, right? Subscribe, and then you can sort of get notifications for upcoming live stream videos. Here's an example of the upcoming live stream videos for Devtoberfest. So yeah, so that's what we've been doing. We're going to carry on looking at back to basics, building blocks, fundamentals, and let us know what else you want to have covered. Okay, thanks. Back to you, Nico and Josh.
So Josh, do you have some time to give us the weather report before wrapping up with the trivia?
Yeah, for sure. Let me pop outside real quick and I'll give you the weather report. I'll be right back.
Nico, it's very wet. It's very, very wet.
Well, thanks, Josh. In depth as always. How about we answer the trivia now?
Trivia.
Yeah, for sure. So earlier I asked you if anybody knew what year our special guest in this episode, Juergen Mueller, was appointed to the SAP Executive Board, and that year was, any guesses?
I'm going to say 2019. I feel like it was before I joined SAP.
You got it right on the first guess. Are you sure you weren't looking at
the
notes?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
I mean, Juergen's been here a long time. He's been involved with SAP for, several years, as mentioned earlier, but he definitely was just appointed to the executive board in 2019.
Yes. Well, I'm glad I got that right.
Very good. Well, Nico, it was so much fun being with you. I know that was the first time hosting with me. I hope we get to do it again. And I really appreciate you. And I hope that you had fun as well.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me. And I wanted to close by promoting the upcoming Devtoberfest month from October 1st to October 31st.
For sure. Yeah, it's a lot of things that are going to be out there during that entire month. Every day is a different subject. You can earn points and badges just like last year. And then we have the chance to take place in a grand prize drawing where people who make it to level 4 and they get qualified at level 4 get their name, their SAP ID thrown into a, we'll call it like a virtual bag, and names will be drawn at the end, and we'll have 10 grand prize winners to go to some magical place in California.
What might that be? No, it's a very interesting learning opportunity for everyone. It's a celebration of developers by developers. And then we have, after Devtoberfest, we have TechEd coming right after that in November. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm excited for TechEd because selfishly, I get to see you. We'll be in person in Las Vegas for the hands-on labs portion. There will be virtual TechEd, free to attend for 2 days. Everybody can attend all the sessions free, but for those hands-on sessions in Las Vegas, we'll be together. So I'm super looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I want to close that again by saying thank you. Thank you to our special guest, Juergen Mueller, for joining us. And I hope to see everybody in next month's episodes.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Developers Digest for September 22. Let me start over.